Welcome to Always on Wire. Today, we're talking about something pretty significant, a suggestion that's just come out. Former Law Minister Zaid Ibrahim has publicly recommended former Chief Justice Tengku Maimun as, well, our next Prime Minister. Now, that's a statement that really gets you thinking, right? What's your immediate reaction when you hear a proposition like that? So Zaid Ibrahim's put this pretty bold idea out there. What's his core reasoning? Why Tengku Maimun specifically?
Well, it's not just a random thought, Zaid seems to have grounded this in what he sees as Malaysia's really critical leadership needs right now. He basically lays out three main points. First off, he talks about her integrity and independence.
Okay.
He really points to her track record as Chief Justice, her courage in making it clear that nobody, absolutely nobody, is above the law, not even powerful politicians. Zaid thinks that kind of unwavering independence is exactly what our political system, well, desperately needs. It's about rebuilding trust, essentially.
Right, making decisions without fear or favor, as they say.
Exactly. Which ties directly into his second point.
Her clean image. Sounds connected.
It is, very much so.
Yeah.
Zaid argues she's seen as free from, well, the usual stuff. Scandals, cronyism, political baggage, things that, let's be honest, cloud many political figures. The idea is a prime minister without those burdens could genuinely hit a reset button for how things are run here.
A reset button, a clean slate.
Yeah, imagine a leader just focused on the national interest, not tied down by old debts or loyalties. It's quite a powerful picture of maybe more transparent leadership.
Okay, that makes sense. And the third point he made, something about symbolism.
Yes, symbolism. Zaid highlights that her becoming prime minister would be, well, hugely symbolic. Think about it. She was the first woman chief justice, moving to the top political job. That sends a massive message.
A message of what exactly?
Of reform, definitely. Inclusion, too. And moral authority. Not just for people here in Malaysia who might be looking for change, but internationally as well. It signals Malaysia is maybe serious about a new direction, focused on merit, on principle. It's more than just a new face. It's potentially a whole new story for the country.
Okay, it's a compelling argument when you lay it out like that. Integrity, clean image, symbolism. But, Malaysian politics is, well, it's complicated. It's rarely just about who has the best theoretical case. It's about power, alliances, the whole chess game. So how does Zaid see the key players reacting to this? This is quite a radical idea, bringing in someone from outside the usual political circles.
Right, and Zaid doesn't shy away from that. He actually spends some time speculating on the political maths. He looks at Parti Islam Si Malaysia, or PAS, for instance. Now, obviously, PAS usually prefers its own leaders. That's their history. But Tengku Maimun is a Malay Muslim woman, seen as having high integrity.
So Zaid thinks they might actually consider her.
He suggests she could be maybe a compromise figure, someone potentially acceptable to both their conservative base and maybe more moderate urban voters. It's an interesting angle for PAS, trying to broaden their appeal, perhaps.
That's a thought. What about Parti Perdumi Bersatu Malaysia and the wider Perikatan National Coalition? They've been sort of searching for a strong leadership image, haven't they?
They have. And Zaid's take is that they really need a credible public face, someone who projects competence, trustworthiness. He flows Tengku Maimun as a potential unity candidate for them. By backing her, they could directly counter Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's line that the opposition doesn't have a strong alternative leader.
So it flips the script on Anwar.
Potentially, yes. It turns that perceived weakness, the lack of an obvious PM candidate, into maybe a strength, offering someone fresh, untainted.
Okay, so that addresses the main Malay parties. What about the others, like Malaysian Chinese Association, Malaysian Indian Congress, and the East Malaysian parties, Gabungan Parti Sarawak, Gabungan Rakyat Sabah, Parti Warisan Sabah? Where do they fit in Zaid's thinking?
Zaid seems to think these groups might actually be more receptive.
Really? Why?
Because she doesn't belong to any specific political camp. She's not tied to one party or dynasty, so they might see her as genuinely neutral. In our fragmented political scene, maybe she could be a real bridge builder, someone who could foster national unity, appealing across different communities and regions, focusing on, the bigger picture.
So basically, Zaid's message for the opposition could be summed up as, forget the old arguments. We have someone better, a former Chief Justice, proven courage, no money politics baggage. This is the kind of leadership Malaysia needs.
That's pretty much the strategic angle, yeah. It's a direct challenge to the status quo, saying the standard political pool isn't good enough anymore.
It's definitely a bold counter-narrative. Challenges the way things usually work here. Now, things get even more interesting because Tengku Maimun herself has been speaking out recently. Her own comments, just surfacing today, seem to touch directly on these themes of integrity and leadership we're discussing.
Yes, and her statements are really, really crucial here. They give us direct insight into her own thinking, her principles. She made a very direct statement. Politicians are the biggest threat to the federal Constitution.
Wow. That's blunt, especially from a former Chief Justice.
Extremely blunt. She basically argued that the very people sworn to uphold the Constitution are the ones putting its status, its sanctity at risk. It's a pretty unique perspective, right? Pointing the finger directly at the political class itself as the main challenge to constitutional integrity. That takes courage.
A significant charge. And she didn't just talk about the Constitution in general, did she? She mentioned the judiciary specifically.
That's right. She doubled down on her view that the Prime Minister should have no role in appointing judges. Zero involvement.
Why is that so critical for her?
Her worry is about perception. If the PM controls judicial appointments, the public might perceive judges as being indebted or influenced, and she stressed that perception is equally important in the judicial system. Unquote. Even the appearance of dependence can damage public trust. It's not just about whether interference actually happens, but whether people believe the system is impartial.
And crucially, she wasn't just speaking theoretically, was she? She mentioned actual attempts at interference during her time.
Yes, that adds a whole other layer. She disclosed that there were attempts to interfere with the judiciary while she was Chief Justice. She didn't give specifics, understandably, but revealing that she personally faced these pressures. It gives enormous weight to her calls for independence. It's not academic for her. It's based on real-world experience at the highest level.
Okay, so let's put these two things together. You have Zaid Ibrahim's really radical proposal, Tengku Maimun for PM, and then you have her own incredibly strong recent statements about politicians, the Constitution, judicial integrity. What does it all mean when you look at it together? Is there a deeper message or intention playing out here?
I think when you connect those dots, the picture becomes quite clear and quite profound. Zaid's proposal, side by side with her critiques, it really feels like a powerful call for a fundamental shift in Malaysian leadership, a paradigm shift, you could say. Her statements, politicians as the threat, the need for absolute judicial independence, they perfectly mirror the very qualities Zaid is highlighting: integrity, independence from political games.
So her words almost make his case for him.
In a way, yes. It makes the proposal seem less like wishful thinking and more like, well, a logical, if politically difficult, response to the very problems she's identifying. It's suggesting a move away from traditional power politics towards governance, genuinely centered on rule of law, on institutional strength. It's really a challenge to the entire political establishment. Are we ready for a leader whose primary commitment is to principles, not to power dynamics? It's a huge question. Politically very tough, obviously, but intellectually, it makes a strong case for a different kind of future.
This whole discussion really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? In a world, and particularly a political system like Malaysia's, where influence often seems everywhere, how truly independent can any leader ever be? And what does integrity actually mean? What does it look like in practice when you're right at the very top? Something to think about. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.